Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I've got a little different drone to bring to you today. The SG906 MAX, the Beast drone. Some people call it the Beast 3. In any case, this is the successor to the SG906 Pro 2. And what does this bring to the table? Well, if you look at the top of this drone here in this picture, you will see that it's got an obstacle avoidance sensor on the top of it. So let me tell you a little bit about the drone. Made some notes here so I get it right. It's got a 3-axis gimbal, which is important. That's the primary thing that we're looking for, because that gives you that good stabilized video. It also has electronic image stabilization, so we'll see how well that works. And then that obstacle avoidance, it shoots out in about a 120-degree fan in front of the drone. So I'm really anxious to check that out and see how it works. It's a pretty cool little device they put on top of it. It looks cool, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And it's got a range of about 20 meters. So in other words, 20 meters away from an object, it should detect it. I don't know how quickly that would bring the drone to a stop, but we'll see when we get out and test it. The other big thing is the remote control. It has a 500 milliamp battery in it now, instead of the older versions used AAAs or AA's. This one is saying a control distance of 1,200 meters or 1.2 kilometers. That is an improvement over the other one, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later, and we'll see how and why that could possibly take place. And then flight time, they're saying 23 to 26 minutes. These drone manufacturers are always optimistic. I'm telling you, if you get 20 minutes flight time, that's going to be awesome, and I suspect that's about what it would be, maybe even a little bit less. So then they're calling the camera, they're calling it a 4K camera. It's 4K in pictures. The video resolution is 2048 by 1080. Now, some people call that a 2K camera. I would call it a 1080p camera, but regardless, that's what it is. It is not 4K in video. It is, however, 4K in pictures. Then let's see, with regard to, I guess I should mention that it will shoot in 720p as well, so other bit rates, and I believe it is, yeah, it says right here 25 frames per second. So you know, that's pretty good. I mean, I've seen some of the bargain drones that are down as slow as 15 frames per second, so 25, that's good enough, and I like that. So yeah, so it's telling us more about the obstacle avoidance system here, between a half a meter and 20 meters. So when that brings the drone to a stop, I'm not exactly sure. Then let's see. There is, I'll tell you what comes in the box. You get the quadcopter, the remote control. You get a battery, spare props, a charge cable, screwdriver, and it says 2 remote control sticks, but on this one that's a little bit different. I'm saying they must have the list from the old one here, and 8 spare screws and an obstacle avoider and user manuals. So the user manuals is another thing we'll talk about. So let me get this box open and we'll show you what's inside. I do want to show you that you get a nice case with the drone, and I always appreciate this. It allows you to keep things organized and everything in one spot, and this is a pretty nice looking case. It's got a handle on the top, which I prefer a shoulder strap. I'm not big on shoulder straps, but it's there if you need it, and it does have a little zippered compartment on the front here. So quickly, let's talk a little bit about the documentation. You get a warning not to mess with the gimbal. Evidently, people have broken gimbals by moving them around with their hand while the thing is energized. You don't want to do that, and you want to use the gimbal cover while you have it in storage. Next, they give you a little operator's manual for the obstacle avoidance sensor that goes on top of the drone. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And then they give you several owner's manuals in several different languages. And of course, the one I'm looking for was English, and that's signified by the British flag at the top. Here's my complaint about this manual. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it close enough to focus on the camera here. I'm telling you, it is so small and it is so hard to read to the point that it's almost impossible. And in fact, what I ended up doing was reading this with a magnifying glass. So, and I realize I'm an old guy, but even if you're a younger guy, that's going to be pretty tough to read. So ZLL, give us a good, larger format owner's manual. We would appreciate it. So then the drone itself, here she is. Let's unfold it so we can take a good look at it. As with all of these drones, it's got the Beast signature on the front there. And then as we turn it around here, you can see there's the SD card slot right there. Now, because it's only a 1080p in video, I think you're probably okay with a Class 10 SD card. I put a U3 card in it, but you know, Class 10 is probably going to be good enough. And then you've got the gimbal cover here. Let's take that off, and that just slides forward. And there you can see the 3-axis gimbal in all 3 axes, pitch, roll, and yaw. So that should give us some nice smooth video. And should point out that we do have brushless motors here and folding props. The other thing is, you'll look on this guy on the top here, there's a cover there, and that's where that obstacle avoidance sensor mounts, and we'll look at that in a second. But first, let's talk about the battery here. 7.6 volts, 3,400 milliamps, so that's the battery. And I don't think it's a smart battery, but it does have a battery indicator. You do a short press there, and you can see the charge state of the battery. So this is the obstacle avoidance sensor itself, and I see that it has a warning on the back, and it's in pretty small lettering too. I had to use a magnifying glass to see it, but it says it's a laser, so it doesn't want you to look directly into the thing. So keep that in mind, especially if you've got kids. But what this guy does is, it, like I said, it rotates back and forth at a 120-degree angle, and that's how it does its obstacle avoidance. This, I believe, is the transmitter, and the receiver is on this side here. But what it does, let's hold the drone up here so you can see it. It simply snaps into that spot that we took the little cover off of, and that's how it sits on top of the drone. And also, they tell you not to mess with this guy either, because it is a motor that moves it back and forth, so they don't want you, manhandling it. That could end up breaking the mechanism. But you got to admit, it's a pretty cool gimmick, and I'm looking forward to trying it out. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is the remote control, and man, is this a vast improvement over the Beast Pro 2. Let me get it all unfolded for you here. So these are just handles down here. Your phone goes in the top here, and I can tell you that my iPhone 11 Pro Max fits in there no problem, even with a cover on it. But a couple of exciting things about this guy is that you see that micro USB slot there. That is to charge the 500 milliamp battery in this guy. So it is self-powered. It's going to have more power than the old remote. The other exciting thing is, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but if you look at this gap in this antenna here, it's got a wire going into it. It is actually a functional antenna. Now this one has no wire in it, so you could leave that down. It's not going to make any difference. But this one, you're going to want it extended, because it is actually a functional antenna. And I quickly want to show you the difference between this one and the other one. And by the way, it's got permanently fixed gimbal sticks in here, and that's another big plus on this remote control. And the reason I'm telling you that, so this is the remote control from the previous SG906 Pro 2. Oh, I do also want to point out that you do have a nice LED display on the Max, or the SG906 III, And this one just had a smaller LCD display. So this guy is going to give you more information. But to point out what I was looking at before, if you look at this guy, you see no wire going into either of these. So the antenna was not functional at all, therefore range limited. The other thing is it took AA or AAA batteries, I can't remember, so it didn't have a built-in battery, not as much power in the RC. The other thing that just bugged the heck out of me in this one, these gimbal sticks were not permanently affixed on the remote itself. And I was forever, these things were forever falling out on me. Now you have to kind of twist them. They're not screwed in, they're just a force fit. And so you kind of twist them in there to get them in there tight. And even then, I would have them fall out once in a while. So not good when you're flying your drone. So I'm really grateful that they addressed that. So yeah, so this new remote is far superior to the old one. And I'm looking forward to taking this guy out and see how it affects the range of the drone. Hey, okay, so I guess that's about it for the preliminaries here. Let me get this thing out in the field. We'll take it up and fly it. In our first flight, we're going to be mainly interested in seeing how this obstacle avoidance sensor works, and we'll test that out. And then I want to take it out and just do, not a range test per se, but I can tell you with the previous version, when I was in an urban environment in a park, in a city park, it was tough to get out 200 meters and I would lose connection. So if this guy will get 300 or 400 meters, and I know they're advertising a 1,200 meter range, but in a drone of this price point, if we can get a good solid connection for 300 or 400 meters, I'll be tickled to death. So that'll be great. And then also we're, of course, interested in what kind of video we get ultimately. And I see I just about lost the SD card there. And you can take a look at that. That SD card sticks out quite a bit, so it's really easy to push it and then it comes out. So you're going to want to be aware of that. But in any case, let's get it out and try it out. And the main things, two main things we're interested in, three main things is better range, obstacle avoidance, and video quality. So we'll take it out and check it out right now. Hey, okay everybody, so we're out in the field with the SG906 MAX, or Beast 3 as it's called. Hey, I got a little bit of a confession to make. This is the second time I've come out with this drone to do the flying part of this review. The first time I was out here a couple days ago, there was significant wind, and I don't know if that was the issue, but I had nothing but trouble with this guy. The obstacle avoidance sensor, I could not get the drone to fly forward. It always thought it had something in front of it, even when it was facing nothing. And then I also had several connection issues. A couple times the RC wouldn't connect to the drone, then the app wouldn't connect to the drone, etc. So we're going to start all over again here, and there's not as much wind today, and we're going to give this guy another shot. So let's quit messing around and let me get this guy in the air. Okay, so I've got the drone all fired up, and I did both the compass calibration and the gyro calibration on it. So we should be good to go. It says we got 11 satellites. So let's go right in here to start to fly, and hopefully, hey, look at that. We actually have, yeah, looking good. So we have a connection on the RC, and we have a connection on the app. So we should be good to go. Let me see if I can start recording, and I'm going to try that on the controller here with this button. And it did. Perfect. So it started, that started up fine. So we can also unlock the motors on the drone on the app, and then we'll hit the takeoff button on the controller here, and let's see how it does. So unlocking, and the motor's fired up, and let's hit this button, and there it goes. And you saw a little bit of a sink there, but that's all right. You know, in this category of a drone, I don't expect it does have optical flow on the bottom, but it doesn't have any kind of sonic sensors or anything. And I'm not hearing any beeping to tell me that it sees an obstacle in front of it. So Rather than do our usual droney, I'm just going to move straight out with the drone here. Yeah, look at that. There it goes. Okay, that's better. This is better than what we saw last week with this drone. So I'm very pleased here. Or a couple days ago, I could not get the drone to move in forward flight the other day, and it may have been because of the wind. It occurred to me that the wind might have tilted the drone in such a way. And I'm yawing it around here, facing towards us. Let me see if I can drop that gimbal down. Wrong way. Okay, let's bring it back, and that'll help. We're kind of faced towards the sun here. Let's bring it back, and we'll try that obstacle avoidance there. And it looked like we were getting a little bit of that, wasn't it? I heard a beep there. So we're fairly high here. Let's, I'm going to bring it over just a little, and let's see if we can get, this will fly over the top of where we're at here. Does it see those trees there? I don't know. I'm not hearing a beep, and I'm not going to try it. I don't want to fly it into a tree, so let's back it up. I'm going to bring it over and drop it down, and you're going to see me here. This is a much better result than I had the other day. And let's bring it down just a little bit more, and let's bring it in here, and let's see if it sees us. Yeah, it does. Although it's still flying forward. Still flying. Yeah, there it finally stopped. So that's good. And then let's back it up. And let's try flying forward now when it does not have an obstacle in front of it. So I'm getting that beeping, and it stopped. Well, no, it kept going. Okay, we're good. Okay, I'm in full reverse now. Let's drop it down again. And I want to point out we've got another individual here that introduced himself to me that is a fellow flyer. It's the first time he's flying his Mavic Air 2. Let's turn around and see if we can get a look here. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it on screen there, but there's one of the Idaho Quadcopter viewers. Dave is his name, and first time out flying his Mavic Air 2. So congratulations, Dave. See if we can get up here. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it on this drone, but he's hovering right over there, and his first flight, he's doing a great job. So again, congratulations. So well, I promised we would do a droney. Boy, I'm having so much better luck with this drone the other day. I'm kind of going to attribute the problems I had the other day with wind. We had some fairly high winds. Okay, let's bring it in, and you can hear that obstacle avoidance working like it should. Let's bring it over again, and we're in 50% power mode, which it tells you that in 50% power mode, that is when the drone will be able to stop in time if it sees an object. In other words, it still works in 100% power, but they warn you that the drone may not be able to avoid an object because it simply cannot stop in time at those speeds. So let's go reverse and up now, reverse and up. And again, we are in 50% power. I think this thing is top speed in this mode is 2 meters per second, something like that, which is okay. Perfectly okay with me. Let's see how far we can get the drone back here. Okay, we're up in the air here. I'm going to switch the speed mode to 100% speed. So I'm going to push the button, this button on the app here, hold it down. Well, maybe, or maybe not. Yeah, the speed button is not working. Let's try it on the app. Well, I can't get it to change speeds on the app either. That's interesting. Holding the button down. Nothing. Whoop, we had it for a second there on the app. Yeah, for some reason it just does not want to change into that high-speed mode, so I don't know what that's about. I can't do it either on the app or with the controller. And I was able to get it in high-speed mode the other day, so I don't know what's going on there. We're going to try that one more time. Well, I don't know what I touched there, but I did manage to turn FPV upside down. Oh, shoot. I didn't even touch that spot that switches FPV, or the screen, but okay, there we got it. We got it into 100% speed mode. I think what I was doing was holding the button down too long, so I just did a short press, and that seemed to work. So, and it gives you that warning. So let's grab some altitude here. Yeah, that's better. Got a little speed here, and we can fly this baby. Oops, and we had a little break up on FPV there. There we go. Let's move it on out. And I'm getting some little bit of breakup on FPV, but the drone, let's see, 6 meters per second, that's pretty good. I'm gonna move over here, move the drone sideways. And I'm watching the drone up in the air, and I'm getting a lot of breakup on FPV here, and that just shouldn't be. So that's an issue. That makes it really hard to get your shot when you can't trust what you're seeing on your screen. So what I was trying to do was point towards the Costco here so we could get a look at that. I take this shot with a lot of my drones so you can kind of see it. But the one thing that is encouraging is, yeah, we're up to 7 meters per second. That's pretty good. So this drone, I can tell you because this drone has a more powerful RC than the previous versions of the SG906, and it actually has one functional antenna on it that definitely has better control. I am 195 meters out with the drone right now. I could not have done that with the previous version of this drone. I would lose connection at about 150 meters. And let me add to that. Now, as you can see, I'm in I'm in an urban environment here, and there's a lot more Wi-Fi interference. Now, FPV is problematic. You saw it breaking up there on screen. Let's go to the other corner of the park here. And we got a little bit of a tilt down when we gave it some forward motion there. 7 meters per second, so the drone is moving out pretty good. Getting pretty good power out of the drone, so I'm pleased with that. Like I said, I really do wish though that that we had better FPV. This FPV is you definitely get that robot action, and that makes it just doesn't give you the confidence that you're getting your shot that you want. So, you know, I find myself, I'm kind of guessing as to where exactly I have the drone placed. But in any case, let's yaw around here a little bit and look at the Boise front. And I'm going to pick up the gimbal just slightly. Maybe. Oh, that was the wrong direction. And again, because the FPV is so spotty. Yeah, I'm holding the button down, but I don't think I'm getting the desired response here. And we are 269 meters away right now. Yeah, I am completely locked up. Oh, there we go. I got some FPV back, and I can see I'm pointed at the sky. See, I didn't know that by looking at the screen here. Yeah, I'm sorry about this, guys, because the FPV is so spotty here. It's I don't know where I have the camera pointed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit return to home, and I'm going to bring the drone back, and I'm going to do that on the controller, and it'll come home here, and hopefully we'll get a better yeah, there we're getting something. I can see it's turned around, but we're just looking at the sky. There we go, and it's coming right back. So now I've got some FPV. I can actually see, but I apologize. I couldn't see what I was doing. I didn't know if I was getting a response from the gimbal or not. So again, I apologize for that. But let's see just how close it gets to its home point. And you can't point the camera straight down on this guy, so I don't know how far down I can point it. We'll try. Yeah, that's about it. So, and that doesn't show you much, so I'm going to pick it back up. And want to make sure the drone doesn't land on top of the picnic shelter here. And it is going to be, it looks a little off to the side, but I can't tell for sure. And again, the FPV is locked up, so we're going to get a fairly accurate landing here, it looks like. But you guys aren't really seeing much on FPV. I'm hoping that, there we go, we got FPV back. And we got a fairly accurate landing. It is right next to the pad, so good deal. Okay, we still have some batteries, so let's take off again, and maybe we can try out some of the flight modes on this guy. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take off, and I want to get you guys a close-up of the, there we've unlocked the motors, hit takeoff, and there it goes. Let me see if I can pick the gimbal up, and closer, I get a lot better control when I'm in closer. So we have decent FPV here now. Okay, I'm going to get you a picture of that obstacle avoidance sensor close up with the camera here. Okay, there's that bad boy. And the drone is sinking for whatever reason, but you can see that sensor moving back and forth. I think that's kind of cool. That's one of the cool things about this drone. Okay, enough of that. Okay, so something else I want to show you on this guy is that you can look at, you know, I talked about pointing the gimbal down. You can't point the gimbal down, but you can switch to the bottom camera. That is not what I wanted to do. Let's see, how do you switch that camera? Looks like we're getting low on battery too. That switches my view upside down. VR, SD. No, that's not what we want. So, I was pretty darn sure that this camera button at the top switched to the bottom camera. Oh, there we go. We got a menu down there. Okay, so there we did it. So let's see, we're low on battery here. I'm going to see if I can do a manual landing above the landing pad here with that bottom camera. Now I realize you guys are just staring at, yeah, so not going to be able to do it that way because of obstacle avoidance. So we're going to back it in. Let's bring it down. And let's see. I'm looking for that landing pad. There we go. See if we can get it over the pad. Too far. Okay, let's just hold that stick down. Close enough. Okay, let me get everything shut down and we'll do a quick conclusion. Okay, guys, the ZLL SG906 MAX Beast 3. Had a lot better result with it today than I had the other day. As you can see, the obstacle avoidance does work on it, and you gotta admit, that is pretty cool to see that thing sweeping back and forth. I just love that. It's a great gimmick, and I applaud them for coming up with something kind of innovative like that and fun. Now, with regard to flying the drone, I struggled a little bit to get it in the high-speed mode there. I don't know why it wouldn't work on the app. It did the other day. I kept touching that and it didn't work. However, pushing the button on the controller, I believe, was my own fault because it just took a quick short press to get it into high-speed mode, and once I did, it was fine. And then, you know, other than that, it performed okay. We had some significant FPV breakup at distance, and that's disappointing. Now, I want to also tell you, and as I said during the narration, there's a lot of Wi-Fi interference around here, so that can affect that, particularly on these kind of drones. But I can tell you, they definitely improved the range on this compared to the previous SG906 2, what they call it, the Pro 2. This one definitely has better range. The Pro 2, when I was in this same spot, I couldn't get more than 150 meters or so, and you would just lose control and complete connection. And this guy, I had control connection to it the whole time. Now, if you were out in the country, out in an open area with less Wi-Fi interference, I'm quite sure you would get much greater range than that. And we'll probably try that one of these days. But I feel a lot better about this flight than the flight that I had the other day, and I'm going to attribute that to that I was out on a very windy day, and I just don't think that it coped with it very well. So yeah, gosh, I guess that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out, and if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. And most of all, I really appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. And of course, we'll see you on the next one, the SG906 MAX.